Loon friends, welcome back to Love Among the Brambles recap show Bramble On. The noises you hear are being created by our producer Molly, along with a ball. She decided mid-breakfast to stop eating her gourmet meal and instead teach a huge, large, fluffy ball who is boss. We regret having been away from you for so long. Our producer Molly, years ago, became an emotional and mental caregiver to her soup pen, what you may know as a grandfather. And exactly, Molly, a couple of days before this episode was to have aired, the soup pen became the victim of a medical accident, and while undergoing a routine exploratory procedure, perished. Actually, he lingered for several days and then perished. Exactly, Molly. I'll make sure to tell them. Molly is now ready to work again. However, I must confess I am not caught up on the latest machinations of Love Among the Brambles. Today I will read over the notes that they have sent, the bullet points, and then we will hear from you, our callers, to catch us up to speed. We mean, of course, episode 15938, Bells Will Ring. And it looks like I have indeed missed a lot. Here we go with the notes, hoping we can read into them what we need to know to understand the inner workings of the Brambles and all those in the ring. Well, it looks like Callie and Carter, the no longer Quarter, have wed. I certainly hope they showed the wedding, not like that ball episode of a few seasons back when we were, as viewers, deprived the opportunity to actually watch the proceedings and had to read about them in hindsight. It says Viola is still heartbroken. She won't let Stock explain. Why was she heartbroken? Let's go back and see what had happened. Oh, Stock had been seduced by Lena, and Viola had walked in on them. That was in episode 15937, A Mother Knows Best. Back to 15938, Bells Will Ring. Slate and Citron are still off the show, doing other projects. Apparently not even here for their own sister's wedding. One wonders how that works in the ring. Will that cause a rift in the future between the siblings? Are they not expected to attend if they're out of town? Are invitations actually sent? These are questions that may or may not be answered. This I don't understand at all. We'll see if you viewers do. I cannot make heads or tails of this. All right, we know that the actress who plays Pearl, Nanny Nettlebottom, took ill, and thus they made Nanny, the character, be ill, since one replicates the other. This case art imitating life. Molly is now drinking water, serenading us with the dulcet tones of the sloshing aquas. And so her character was unable to attend the wedding as well. It says here that Milliam, her new husband, longtime friend, is fading without his beloved Nanny Nettlebottom. His heart is fractured in a different way than Viola's. Thank you for the sound effects, Molly. You're quite adept at that. All right, you all done? Very good, very good. Going back to your breakfast? It's gourmet, you know. Only the best for our producer. So Milliam leaves the wedding early, at least somebody attended the wedding, to go to Nanny's side, worrying that she is no longer among the living. However, slowly, subtly, her hand inches over and rests on his, letting us know, yes, she is still alive. Did you really have to waggle your head and slosh water all over me? Seriously. Excuse me, our producer has seen fit to get everything within a 5-foot radius wet. Moving on, thank you, Molly, to Magnolia. She does go to the wedding. She tries to talk to Brooke and to convince him to give her his unicorn horn's dust. Just the dust, not the horn, just some dust from it so she can engage in sorcery. I agree, Molly. I heartily agree. The idea of Magnolia dabbling in sorcery, there's no dabbling when it comes to Magnolia. It's more like doom. Oh, Molly, you can't do that, honey. Stop that, stop that. Oh, these producers, they're like actors. They're high maintenance. Stop that, sweetheart. Oh, boy. All right, where are we next? This is going to take quite a while to get back into the saddle, I can see that. We know that Viola's heartbroken over Stock. Well, he's equally heartbroken in so much as she will not allow him to explain that Lena was seducing him. He was not reciprocating. After Brooke's discussion with Magnolia, I don't see that he's given her an answer whether or not he will give her some of the dust from his unicorn's horn, enabling her to cast spells. The mayor asks Brooke to come back to work at Seeley Hall. The mayor needs help now with the transit authority approving the rerouting of the highway around the ring. The mayor is at a loss for what to do. Brooke, on the other hand, turns up his nose, turns his back on the mayor, and snubs him. Now that he knows of his unicorn heritage, he has taken on a very different demeanor. One I dare say the unicorns would not be proud of. Raffia is at the wedding. Some of the Brambles are not at their ancestor's wedding, however, Prince Raffia is, and he is being uncommonly nice to everyone, causing them to become suspicious. We do recall from episode 15938, Mother Knows Best. Thank you, Mom. We recall from that episode that Raffia had met his long-lost mother, Callista, and she'd shown him some family legacy heirlooms, took him on a journey. He is getting to know about his life, his family, his past. Could it be he's becoming a decent fellow? This is what we're all left to wonder. Oh, Molly's finding the remnants of her gourmet breakfast. This may keep her busy for a while. Meanwhile, the human, now an adopted fae, Dodd Hoskins, a regular on the show, helps Callista set up home. As we know, Callista was formerly known as the Fawn Witch, and she has chosen an abandoned tree in which to live. And that is where Dodd comes in, helping to fortify the structure with some extra wood and so on, some iron supports, some steel supports, We know that iron and fae do not get along. And finally, Lena, who struck out, enticing Stock, now goes after the mayor and takes advantage of his good humor during the festivities at the wedding. I fear for the mayor. He's on a high right now after his win with the transit authority, but this could go the other way very quickly. Let's go straight to your comments. Caller number 1, what say you?
I don't know. The wedding seemed kind of rushed to me. If I were Callie, I wouldn't have taken Carter back so fast. Once a mama's boy, always a mama's boy. I foresee a dearth of domestic bliss where the newlyweds are concerned. Sure hope I'm wrong.
You make some very good points, caller. I will say that the idea of the wedding being rushed, I cannot really speak to that in so much as I've not been in Bramble land for a while. And so for me, this very well could have been a long courtship. You do make a good point, though, about taking Carter as a husband so quickly on Callie's part. As you say, once a mama's boy, always a mama's boy, and we know he is indeed a mama's boy. And I too hope you are incorrect about the status of their domestic life. One does wish Callie every happiness. Certainly she deserves it. But is Carter the man to give it to her? Thank you for your wisdom, caller number 1. Moving on to caller number 2.
What in the tohu bohu was that? The writers squeezed the wedding in between 2 Jolly Loom episodes, and they expect us to like it? Ha! What a sham. It felt so forced and awkward. If this is a sign of things to come for Callie and Carter, they're doomed.
Thank you, caller. I do confess on a personal note, Your remarks make me feel better, so much as I've not perhaps missed as much as I thought. You are correct. The writers did squeeze the wedding in between Holyloom episodes. Why is that? Was it to set it off, perhaps? Make it more grandiose? I will get back to you once I've watched it. However, your words do bear merit. It does feel a bit awkward, given that some of the Brambles were not even in attendance. Let's move on now to caller 3, shall we?
Hi, long-time listener, first-time caller. I don't mean to complain or anything, but the wedding was kind of unsatisfying. I know we got to see it and all, so that's good. But the wedding itself, let's just say I would expect the wedding of a Bramble daughter to have been a little more special.
Caller, I have to admit, based on what you have said, as well as our previous 2 callers, it sounds like I've missed nothing. I'm saddened at the very prospect of viewing this episode. Let's see what we have to look forward to with the next installment in episode 15939. Bliss is as bliss does. Now, there was to have been a Holyloom episode for Mayday Fayday. However, we will not air it, as it has long since passed. In fact, we are beyond the summer solstice at this point. And so our next episode will center on episode 15939. And it looks like we can look forward to a look inside the domicile of newlyweds Carter and Callie, as well as an announcement of import from the mayor. Above and beyond that, I believe it will be business as usual. Until that time, friends, do write to your Sealy Court representatives and the writers if you are discouraged, disappointed, disillusioned in this episode 15938 Bells Will Ring. Sounds to me like bells did not ring for many of you, nor were there whistles. Our producer Molly has worn herself out. She's now reposing, behaving now that the show's over and she can make all the noise she wants. She's asleep. Until next time, friends, to the best of your ability, no matter what happens, do try to keep calm and bramble on. Cherry, stay safe.